And welcome to the Friends with Ryan segment, where friends both old and new come to talk sports. And this is a special episode, a special installment of Friends with Ryan because I'm bringing back two of my buddies who are Jets fans. We're going to go over the New York Jets draft picks for the 2022 draft, which will be happening next Thursday. So 1 week left till the draft, and we're going to get things started. I'm going to introduce my guests. To my right is as co-host of the Trav and Rigney Show. We got Kyle Rigney. Kyle, how's it going tonight, bud?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing pretty good. So you got your bobbleheads next to you right there.
Oh yeah, all my pop figures over here.
The fun. That's right. The pop Funko. That's right.
Yep.
How about that?
Too many. For sure.
And to my south and to my southeast, we've got my former co-host of the Downtown Jets podcast. He's joined me. He's a very passionate South Florida New York Jets fan, Dan Goldstein. Dan, how's it going tonight?
Hello, everybody. Doing just wonderful. Glad to be back here and talk some more Jets. It's been an exciting past month and a half with free agency and everything. Let's dig right into it.
All right. Yeah, so let's do a quick wrap-up of free agency. Are you guys happy with what Joe Douglas did? Are you guys kind of disappointed to see if he could probably get some more? Dan, let's start with you. We'll talk for about 3 to 5 minutes for this part of the show. What do you think about free agency?
If you're going for instant grades, I would say I'd give that a solid B to B plus. I mean, you didn't expect him to fill every hole in free agency, but I think he did a great job of getting good players for good value, ones that are scheme fits, and I'm very excited to see what they can do. I think Laken Tomlinson, to help solidify the interior over the disaster that was Greg Van Roten, was probably the biggest improvement we've made within any position. But I'm very excited to see what DJ Reed can do, because I went on the Seahawks subreddit, and every single person in there was absolutely just mortified that the Seahawks let him walk, and they just couldn't believe that, like, for the price he got. So that made me feel really good, because I didn't know much about him as a player before that. So that was a nice surprise. So I'm excited, man. I think they put a lot of good pieces into play, and I hope they can supplement that very well with an A+ draft, and we can actually see the Jets reach a level we haven't seen since 2009, 2010.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you there. Kyle, about you? How would you feel about free agency?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's I think Joe Douglas did a very good job. I think my favorite addition is probably CJ Uzama. I think he's a super underrated tight end. He's huge, very athletic, very explosive with the ball after the catch. So very excited to see what he can do, how he can help Zach Wilson improve in year 2. And then obviously Laken Tomlinson, I think, is our biggest signing, and I agree with Dan that it was easily our biggest upgrade at any position.
Yeah, I for me, I definitely B+, solid A-. I think my favorite acquisitions were signing Jordan Whitehead, because that helps the run game, the run defense game, a heck of a whole lot than it did last year. There were obviously some problems with the run defense. My other favorite acquisition is retaining Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, that was huge.
Is a huge keep for the Jets, and I'm super excited to see what he can do. The last 6 games of the season before he went out with an injury, missed week 18. To see what he could do the previous 6 weeks before that, he was one of the top-rated receivers in football. Nasty. I'm excited to see. What's that?
He was nasty.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do in a full season, not just 6 games because of injury and whatnot. But I'm excited to see what he can do in a full season. Plus, he solidifies their punt return and kick return game
for sure.
Yeah,
as an all-pro kick return.
That's why I couldn't give free agency an A, because the only thing he did was retain Braxton Berrios, and it wasn't enough to supplement, as in the receiver room. So it puts a lot of pressure on him to, make, to try and get a big deal on one of these disgruntled receivers. We had the Tyreek Hill saga, and I'm sure we're going to get into Deebo Samuel for a few minutes here. So, but it puts a lot of pressure on him to either hit one of those guys or really make sure he hits on somebody in the draft. And, that's the only reason why I couldn't get free agency an A. It's just because he just didn't do enough with the wide receiver room to get me to bump it up that high. So, barring injury, Jeff Smith and Tariq Black are still going to get on the field, and that just can't happen.
All right, gentlemen. So we're going to move on from the free agency and the Deebo Samuel talk. We're going to get down to our picks for this year. But first thing we're going to do is that we're going to predict the top 10 overall picks of this year's NFL draft. And Kyle, I'm going to hand it over to you first. Who do you have as your first 10 off the board in the 2022 NFL draft?
I gotta say, I've been doing mock drafts, like filling out my own mock drafts for a while now, probably like the last 10 years or so. This is probably the hardest top 3 that I've ever had to come up with.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's not really a solid number 1 right now, at least from what I'm reading. It's all over the place. But just looking at the board, I don't really see how the Jaguars pass on Aiden Hutchinson here. So I have Hutchinson going first. I have the Lions taking Sauce Gardner. And then I have the Texans taking Evan Neal, the Jets taking KT, the Giants taking Icky, and the Panthers taking Charles Cross, the Giants taking George Karlaftis, and the Falcons taking Derek Stingley Jr., the Seahawks taking Travon Walker, and then the Jets taking Drake London.
Fascinating. I'm kind of curious as to why you have Aiden Hutchinson at number 1.
I just think he's the best player in the draft right now. The Jaguars kind of tried to solidify their offensive line through free agency and with their franchise tag. So I kind of feel like they should go edge probably. I mean, okay. I don't know if they should go edge, but I think that they're going to. I think in their position, I feel like it's going to be really hard to not take what's considered probably the best player on the board.
Okay.
But I could totally see them taking even Evan Neal or Icky there, or whatever top offensive lineman you want to consider the top guy, because I feel like it's all over the place this year.
It's definitely all over the place. I definitely agree that there's no consensus number 1.
Right.
Number 1 overall pick. And this year's draft is not going to be quarterback heavy. It's going to be more offensive line, edge, and wide receiver heavy, maybe a little bit secondary.
That's
what I'm feeling. Next year's draft class is going to be definitely quarterback heavy.
Oh, there's probably going to be 4. There's probably going to be 4 or 5 guys that go top 10.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, there's definitely no consensus number 1. So I could definitely see Hutchinson going at 1. But you could argue that it could be another offensive lineman going at 1. You never know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens on Thursday night. Dan, over to you. What's your top 10 for the overall draft?
Here's my notebook, just so you see it. Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was thinking about Zach Wilson.
Very nice.
So hope your wife doesn't mind.
That was a birthday present from the wife. Very appreciative. So
nicely done.
All right, so number 1, I have Trent Baalke being an idiot, because he is an idiot. So he's going to take Travon Walker at that spot, because he's going to go for the insane upside potential over this floor, which means the Lions then get the hometown kid Aiden Hutchinson there. I have the Texans taking Icky, because he is light years better than Evan Neal. So they're going to take the best offensive lineman on the board there. I got the Jets then lucking into Kayvon, as everybody knows. I have the Giants then taking Charles Cross, because I think they're going to be more concerned about fixing their O-line than their secondary here at the moment. Then I have a trade, actually. So Carolina has, thanks to Sam Darnold, no 2nd or 4th round picks this year. So I think Carolina's terrible. So I think they're a perfect trade down partner for someone in the low teens to kind of move up for a player. So I have Minnesota moving up with Carolina, Minnesota giving up 12 and 46 for 6, and Minnesota then taking Sauce at that pick, which leaves the Giants just miserable and they panic and take Kyle Hamilton at that spot to kind
I
of
would
help
love
their
that.
secondary. I mean, Kyle Hamilton's a great player, but top 10 safeties is just a no-go anymore. So yes, I would love it too. Then I have another trade, as a matter of fact. I have Atlanta also with so many holes that they, instead of sitting at 8, they move back into the mid-teens with Baltimore. And Baltimore gives up 1476 and a 23 third to move up for Derek Stingley in front of the Seahawks. So that gives the Seahawks then the right to pick Evan Neal. And then I have the Jets taking the best wide receiver in the entire draft, Jamison Williams.
That's actually who I want them to grab. I've just been seeing tons of Drake London stuff. Jamison Williams is the guy that I would rather have them get.
But your
I actually
problem
like
with
Garrett Wilson too.
But your problem with Williams is that he probably won't play until October, November, unless he's making a super miraculous recovery with his torn ACL.
I don't care. I don't care. That short-sightedness of like, yeah, do I want them to win games in September and October? Absolutely, of course. I'm going to root for them every game. But you know what? As long as the Jets don't go like 2-15, Joe Douglas is
16?
and Robert Saleh. 2-15. It's 17.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm adding a game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Canadian Football League for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, as long as they don't go worse than what they were this past year, Joe Douglas's seat may get warm. It's not as hot as everybody's going to think. The fans may want to riot and fire Joe Douglas in this, and the media will, will fan the flames a little bit on it. But ultimately, he has a 6-year deal. He told the Johnsons that this is going to take a while. I think realistically, he gets another pass this year, and next year, 23, that's where you have to show the massive into double-digit win type improvement. So Joe Douglas still has his eyes 2 to 3 years down the road, which is why I think he goes Jamison Williams over someone like Drake London or Garrett Wilson, because Jamison Williams can absolutely ignite this offense from the slot. I mean, he would be a perfect player to have in the slot where he can get free releases, use his incredible route running and speed to get open and then just burn up field. And that's what I want to see. That's what's going to open up everything else for everybody else. So, I like Drake London. I like Garrett Wilson, but I love Jamison Williams. And I mean, you got to think you can't be so short-sighted over the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season where you don't have him compared to what he could do for the next 4 to 5 years. You just can't do it.
I agree. I just, for some reason, have the feeling that they're going to take London. I don't know why, but I do really, I prefer Williams.
Look, would I hate it if they took Drake London? Absolutely not. I mean, then you kind of have a guy who could potentially become our version of a hybrid of Brandon Marshall and Mike Evans. I mean, nobody would sneeze at a guy that could be the combination of those two. I mean, let's be real. Right. But we're missing game-breaking speed. We are missing game-breaking speed in the wide receiver room. And I mean, if he was able to run a 40, he was predicted to run somewhere in the range of like a 4.26, 4.27. I mean, that's asinine to pass up on that over an injury that'll keep him out for maybe the first, 6 to 8 weeks of the season. I don't care. I don't. I just don't.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so here's my top 10 picks. So I've got Jacksonville taking Ike Ekwonu at number 1. I just think that Doug Peterson wants to have another tackle to protect Trevor Lawrence. I got Detroit taking the hometown kid Aiden Hutchinson at number 2. I got Houston taking Evan Neal at number 3, offensive tackle. Kayvon Thibodeau number 4 for the Jets. For the Giants, number 5, I got taking Sauce Gardner. For Carolina, because their offensive line is atrocious, I got them taking Charles Cross at number 6. Giants from Chicago at number 7, I got them taking Derek Stingley Jr. You might as well bookend some corners for the next half decade to decade. Atlanta, I got them taking Trayvon Walker because they don't have a pass rush. Seattle from Denver, I got them taking Malik Willis at number 9. I guess he's considered the top quarterback in this draft. You could argue about Kenny Pickett. You could argue about Desmond Ridder, but I think Malik Willis is the top quarterback in the draft, and I got Garrett Wilson at number 10 for the Jets. I had in my original mock draft for the Jets for their first 5 picks, I had them taking Drake London, but I'm concerned about the ankle injury, number one. I know it's a break. I know it's a fracture rather than an ACL tear, but he didn't run a 40 at his pro day at USC. He didn't come to the combine. So that kind of, I know that combine numbers, yeah, it's great for just for impressing staff, but I kind of also want to see what kind of speed that Drake London has. But I think Wilson has that kind of speed. If they don't wind up trading for Debo Walker here, so that's my top 10. So I think for all of us, we have a consensus of KT being taken at 4 by the Jets. We all disagree on wide receivers at 10, but we all have the Jets taking wide receivers at 10.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's funny that we all pick different wide receivers for the Jets to draft at number 10. We also all pick different number 1 overall picks, which I think is interesting.
That just goes to show you the craziness of what this year is. And of course, it had to be the year the Jets have 2 top 10 picks, and there's no damn quarterbacks worth it.
Right. I do think that somebody will trade up for a quarterback. I think right now it's just kind of hard. I think the Lions are actually a potential landing spot for a quarterback, even at number 2, if they feel strongly enough about one of these guys. And I'm not saying that they do, but I think it's just kind of football nature, right, to kind of grab your guy when you need him or when you think you need them. So I wouldn't be that shocked if the Lions grab a quarterback at 2, or even the Panthers. I mean, McAdoo came out the other day and said that Sam Darnold is their starting quarterback, and then about a minute later he retracted that statement like an absolute moron. So I don't know if that was him saying maybe I shouldn't have said that because now they know I'm not going quarterback in the first round, or maybe he's just like, maybe I shouldn't have said that because we might be going quarterback in the first round. I mean, I don't really know, but I think the Panthers are a potential spot there.
I think the only team that could take one in the first 10 is the Panthers, just for Matt Rule to try and buy himself more time.
Yeah,
that's really about what it comes down to. I mean, Matt Rule's seat is probably the hottest or the second hottest coaching seat in the league, and I can't even name you who would be above him at this point.
No, I think he has the hottest for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I could totally see him taking a quarterback to try and see if it could buy him an additional year, to say, hey, I got my actual guy. Let me see what I can work with here. And in the meantime, we'll let Sam Darnold suck for another year, and we'll get another high draft pick to help supplement, the rest of our stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also the reason why I have them trading down as well, is because the quarterbacks are so bad that he could trade down, gain back his second round pick that he lost for Sam Darnold, plus whatever else they can finagle and negotiate with whatever team they're doing, and still take a quarterback at 12, which is what I would have had them doing, actually. I would have had them taking Malik Willis at 12 in my mock draft had I kept going past 10. And this way they recoup picks and still get their quarterback. So Matt Rule still has the built-in excuse of, give me some time to work on my guy,
Yeah, really, all these picks between the Jets picks, I think have the potential to have a quarterback go. I think either one of the Giants picks, whether that means them trading back or the Giants taking a quarterback themselves because of, I don't know how good Daniel Jones is, and I don't know how good everybody else in the organization really thinks he is.
Well, Brian Dable has gone on record saying, I can't wait to work with Daniel Jones.
That's
it could have been a smoke screen.
Doesn't mean anything
about that. They say nothing. All that is nothing. It's just words.
Yeah, the Panthers definitely need a quarterback. The Falcons need a quarterback. I mean, I'm excited to see what Mariota can do, but he's not the long term there. I think everybody knows that. And then the Seahawks need a quarterback because, I mean.
That's why I had them picking Malik Willis.
I could see the Seahawks doing it because John Schneider likes to think he's the smartest guy in the world, and he always comes up with these crazy picks, and that's why he could go ahead and do it, thinking he's, he gets the pick of the litter at quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I think the Lions know they're going to suck still, and Dan Campbell's looking to the future, knowing he probably still has a top 5 pick next year, where all the quarterbacks that are going to be in next year's draft are better than any of the ones in here. So I have a
Right.
feeling him and the Giants are probably forward thinking another year, and they're going to roll with Jones and Goff, knowing they're
Mhm.
probably both going to suck, and then they can take their guy next year in a much, much more talent heavy draft at quarterback.
Oh, for sure. That's definitely what they should do. I'm just pointing out that people take quarterbacks when they shouldn't necessarily take quarterbacks almost every single year.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that a quarterback should go in the top 10, but I think it's not unlikely that one would.
I just don't have. I mean, if I'm on my personal rankings, I just don't have any one of them worth it. I mean, like I said, Malik
Oh, yeah,
Willis
I
would have
agree
gone
with
at
you.
12, and even then, I would have told you that's a reach. But somebody's
Yeah, I
got to
agree
pick
with
one
you.
somewhere.
I personally think that Pittsburgh could be one of those teams that trades up and pulls like a Josh Rosen and picks and panic picks Kenny Pickett. Although I like Kenny Pickett, I think he's a decent enough quarterback. He has everybody worries about his hand size, but whatever. It's just a stupid,
I
measurement for
worry.
combine. I
I worry
hate
about
it.
his arm strength. I don't think.
Yeah, but
Kenny.
he's I
You
mean,
know,
he's gonna be in that type of system that you don't have to worry too much about the long ball. As long as you got Najee Harris in the backfield, he could get some good yardage. Doesn't have to worry about throwing it too deep.
you can only hope. Yeah, they can only hope. I don't know. I don't see any reason to trade up for a quarterback, though. I really don't. It'd be a waste of future assets or assets you can use now to build around it. All these crappy teams with no quarterback should be trying to trade back as much as possible to get first and second rounders next year so that they can go up for somebody if they're not in position to grab someone.
Like Washington, like Pittsburgh, like the Saints,
Exactly.
even
Yeah.
the Saints.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Unfortunately, it's a, what have you done for me lately type of league. And a lot of these coaches need to, like Dan, like what you were saying, kind of like, this is our guy now. This is what, we're going to move forward with him. And he's going to save my job kind of deal.
That's what's exciting. We got 7 more days to find out for sure.
That's true. That's true. All right, so we're going to move on from the top 10, and we're going to go into our New York Jets mock draft. So all three of us have our number 4 and number 10 picks in. All three of us selected, had Kayvon Thibodeau at number 4. We all agreed that there's a wide receiver available at number 10. All three of us have different wide receivers going. So now we're going to concentrate on picks 2, at pick 35, 38, 69, 111, 117, 146, and 163. Let's start with the 2 second round picks in 35 and 38. And Dan, who do you have here at 35 and 38?
I do not have the Jets picking at 35. They're moving back into the first. As a matter of fact, they're moving back up. They're jumping. They're going to be jumping Cincinnati. Right now, Tampa Bay is in such a spot where they don't have anything crazy needs that they can afford to go back, recoup some assets, and let the board just kind of fall to them. So they're a perfect trade-up partner at 27. I got the Jets jumping right up for 35. And I don't know if Tampa would truly take this. The draft point chart says this would work, but I don't think they would truly do it. But I got them moving up to 27 for 35 in both their 4th rounders. So 111 and 117 to move up to 27. And they stopped the slide for Tyler Linderbaum to replace bitch-ass Connor McGovern and put some toughness in the center line and truly solidify the interior, that offensive line with future Pro Bowler, future All-Pro, current Pro Bowler. Love it. Absolutely love it. Love the fit. Ready for him. He's going to look so good in green and white. I can't wait. He's a Joe Douglas guy. He's a Michael Fleur guy. It's a perfect scheme fit. I don't give a shit how short his arms are. I don't give a shit that he's a little bit light. Guy knows how to play the game, and he's probably one of the best offensive linemen we've ever seen in the last 20 years come out in the draft. So, to me, surefire hit. Then at 38, I have the Jets going interior defensive line because that is an underrated need. I don't care what you think about it. That is an underrated need. Jonathan Marshall is an unknown. Sheldon Rankins is terrible, and he's expensive. John Franklin Myers probably should play more 3-tech, but barring more injuries, he may have to go back out on the edge. We need depth. We need high-end depth, and most importantly, we need guys that can stop the run. So I have them taking Travis Jones from UConn because he hits all the Joe Douglas boxes. Team captain, high RAS score, loves the game of football, nonstop motor, and he's 335 pounds. He can clog up the one gap. He can clog up the two gap. He's a perfect one tech that could also play three tech or zero tech in a pinch. So he's a perfect fit for what the Jets need in the interior defensive line, and he can rotate in with John Franklin Myers on third downs to allow the pass rush to hit, and he can be the run stuffer. Love the fit, love the player. Then I have the Jets trading down with Indy in 69. I think Indy's going to try and move up for a wide receiver in the third round, someone that falls out of the second. So I have Indy moving up to 69 and giving up picks 82 and 122, and the Jets accepting that. Then the Jets at 82, they take Nick Cross, the free safety from Maryland. He's essentially the exact same type of athlete as Ashton Davis, but he can actually play football. He's good at it. He has instincts. He can cover. He can play in multiple schemes. He's a perfect little Swiss Army knife where they can move him around with a two high split, one high split. Love the fit. He's a perfect fit. At 122, they take Damian Pierce to pair with Michael Carter. Give him that big guy 1-2 punch. He lit up the Senior Bowl. Love him. At 146, you take your developmental offensive tackle and Zach Tom from Wake Forest. And then at 163, you take Jojo Damon, the weak side linebacker from Nebraska. Can't help you in the run game at all. Just doesn't have the size, doesn't have the strength for it. But man, can this kid cover. So any of those running backs, tight ends that go out in the flat, they're already eliminated once Damon gets on them. So I love the fit. He can come in. He can challenge Nazrul Dean at the weak side linebacker spot and maybe even potentially become another one of those late round, fifth round gems that Joe Douglas seems to be finding lately. So that's my draft for the Jets. Love the fits everywhere. And I wanted to try and find a tight end, but with the trades, losing the both fourth round picks, I couldn't really figure out a way to get a tight end, and I couldn't find another wide receiver that I liked at any point. So there would still be work to be done on the UDFA line when that happened. But as far as draft picks go, I love my draft.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I really like trading up for Linderbaum there. If he's available in the late first round like that, that would be very exciting for them to pursue. I have a feeling he's going to go in the middle of the first. And I don't think the Jets could be able to trade up that far to get him. But if he's available at the end of the first, I would love it if they traded up to get him.
Gotta jump Cincinnati. Cincinnati.
They did it last year with trading up for AVT. To grab AVT, they had that trade with Minnesota, so they swapped picks. So it could happen here for sure. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Trader Joe's is always open.
Yeah.
Joe Douglas, Trader Joe's is always open.
Teams seem very willing to deal with him, which is such a refreshing kind of take after the whole Mcgahee thing. I felt like nobody wanted to deal with him. Everybody hated Mcgahee.
It was vice versa. Mcgahee didn't want to deal with anybody.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, Mcgahee was terrible at making deals and trades. I mean, he got Brandon Marshall, so that was a good deal. That worked out well. But other than that, he was terrible at making trades, and he just would either, from what I read, he wasn't returning phone calls or nothing like that. He was just sitting on his ass drinking 30 cups of Starbucks and staring at his computer screen, scouting, apparently doing a terrible job at scouting. God, I hate Mcgahee. God, I hate Mcgahee.
He was the worst.
He was bad. All right, Kyle, lay it on us. Who do you got for the remainder of the draft for the Jets?
All right, so in the first round, I had them taking KT and Drake London. Second round, I don't have any trades projected, by the way. But
neither do I. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Second round, I had them taking Jalen Petrie from Baylor. And then with pick 38, I had them taking the linebacker from Wisconsin, Leo Chanel. Also, I have no idea if I'm saying these names right. I'm just kind of guessing.
You're good so
far. Third round, I had them taking the safety from Cincinnati, Brian Cook. Fourth round, I had them taking tackle from Arizona State, Kellen Deesh. Fourth round, running back from Georgia, Zamir White. And fifth round, I had them taking a center, Joshua Williams. Seems like a really experimental kind of guy. He's from D2, but they said of all the D2 athletes, it seems like he's he has like the frame to really make the jump. This is really just the experimental offensive lineman that I think Joe Douglas would be willing to take late in the draft like this. And then I do also agree that the interior D line needs some help. So Eric Johnson from Missouri State is going to be their last pick there.
Okay. Dan, see anything wrong with that, or just?
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be very underwhelmed if that ended up being what it was. I was still very underwhelmed.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I feel like everybody's going to do like the whole, we're going to trade up for this guy, or we're going to trade back and acquire way more picks and stuff like that. And so I can predict all that stuff too. I'm just do. No, you're good. I'm just going to do, what's currently slated and, who's falling to, like, I did this on pro football. What is it?
Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, Pro Football Focus is draft thing. And so I really just did that, I kind of just did what fell to me and took, and this was the third one that I did, and this is the one that I liked the most. So this is just, I got what I got here.
I don't see any way the Jets take two safeties. It's just
I only have them taking one safety.
You have them taking two. Brian Cook and Jalen Petrie are both safeties. PFF has Jalen Petrie listed wrong. They have him listed as a cornerback.
Then
Petrie's a strong safety.
Yeah, well then I wouldn't be aware of that.
That's why I hate PFF. I think PFF's rankings is a joke.
Well, it's funny because I noticed that with some positions, but I didn't notice that with his.
He's a strong safety, and at 35 it's too high. It's too high. He'd be good for a late second. At 35 it's too much. That's the kind of the guy you move back. Like that's, if I'm switching that up, I'm taking someone like Jaquan Brisker at that spot instead. He's way better safety and a way better fit for what we need as far as that goes.
Well, it's funny because I saw him there and I'm like, I'm not taking a safety in the third or in the second.
Yeah. Well, again, that's PFF's fault. I don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
I'm a draft nut. So I mean,
I'm not as in, I know like the first round guys and then the later half, like I look into them after the Jets draft and I'm like, oh, what did he do?
Yeah. See, I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot nerd. That's like all these other draft guys. I'm looking at everybody. I know guys that are going to go in the 7th round, and there's no reason for me to know anything about these guys, but I do.
Yeah, no, I know that there's people. Yeah, and I know that you people out there, you exist. I can't get into college. Yeah, I can't get into college like that. So I kind of just, I take what I'm given here.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd be underwhelmed. I really would on that one. That would be a very disappointing draft for me. But then again,
how do you feel about a linebacker in the second round? Because I do feel like linebacker is a pressing need for us.
I've got one. I've got one in the second round. I got one in the second round.
Okay. If you're looking at it like we look at it, it's definitely a need. But literally every time they bring it up, Saleh and Joe Douglas are so quick to say, we 100% believe in all our linebackers, to the point where I don't know if they're truly willing to spend that kind of a resource on one yet.
Yeah, is Quincy Williams really that good?
They truly think that he has Pro Bowl potential. He just needs to get like his instincts in place.
I mean, he hits hard, but like, is there anything else he can do?
But
not really. He's terrible. He's terrible at coverage. He doesn't really have good instincts, but he can hit. I mean, we saw that he can cover ground. He can hit, but he's got to get more of the nuances of the game under wrap. But they really think that they can train him and hone him to be not only just a starter, but a high level starter. And then they really believe in Sherwood and Nasruddin and think that they both can develop into, again, same thing. I mean, they believe in Saleh and Ulbricht's ability to develop linebackers. I mean, that's where they both made their money. That is what they did between Fred Warner and Deion Jones and, Foyce Oluokun. Those guys are linebacker gurus. So if that's where I take them at face value, where they're talking linebackers, I mean, I don't think they go that high on it. I would love them to take someone like a Chad Mumma or a Troy Anderson or Leo Chanel or any one of those guys. I just don't think they're going to. I really think that they actually believe in the guys they already have in the building.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, so it's my turn.
Let's see what you got.
All right.
I know what you got. I watched you on the Jake Asman show, so.
Yeah, so no, you kind of know. You kind of already know. Kyle doesn't really. I don't think Kyle really knows yet. But that was a fun time, by the way. Shout out to Jake Asman. He's a good.
I love.
Yeah, I got to check that out. Is that still on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on
Oh
YouTube.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
it's from what? That was 2 days ago, right? 2 days
That
ago? Or
was
yesterday's
Tuesday.
show?
That
Yeah,
was Tuesday's show.
Tuesday's show. Yeah, Jake
Yep.
Asman's the best. I watch his show every day.
Yeah, I just stumbled upon him and I started watching him. But he almost came to Albany. He almost came to Albany to work the ESPN station here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
really?
mean, he went to Ithaca
Yeah.
College, so he goes to upstate New York,
Yeah.
from what I understand, quite a bit.
My buddy Tom Gozlowski, shout out to him from Godzilla. He's the CEO, CFO, and COO of Godzilla Media. Kyle's got a podcast with his network, of course. He's known Jake since Ithaca.
Sweet.
Oh, really?
So
That's
so
sweet.
yeah.
Listen,
Hopefully-
if you haven't watched it, watch the one he did today with Joe Benigno. That was
Oh my
excellent.
gosh.
Oh,
That was
geez.
excellent. That was
I'm gonna try to
excellent.
get him on the. I'm gonna try to get him on No Credentials Required. I think
See,
he would
now,
have
I'm a
blast.
Florida guy. I don't get WFAN. You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. I'm in Florida. You guys are up in there. You guys can listen to it whenever. I didn't get to listen to, Benigno and whomever the hell else was on his show with him. So, I only know a little bit about him, but like his hour-long video today, spectacular. I'm upset I missed him all these years.
He's passionate. I mean, they have the one. I think there's one or two apps you could probably get WFAN on right now, but I've heard it's been kind of since Benigno and Steve Summers retired. But anywho, my picks. So Kayvon at 4, Garrett Wilson at 10, unless they trade for Debo. At 35, I mean, I could see if this were to potentially happen. I mean, if there's no trade that happens, I got Tyler Linderbaum at 35. I don't know if he slides down that far.
I just don't see it.
I mean, Dan, I can see trader Joe Douglas try to trade up and get him, but I don't know. It's just an instinct. It's just my instinct that I have. I have no trades in this either because I ain't really. I mean, I did my research, but I didn't like dig that deep into it.
I think it's really, really hard to project trades also, but
It is.
But the trades that Dan did lay on the table made they did make sense.
I'm going to say I don't think Tampa Bay would truly accept 2/4. I think that would I think ultimately they'd want 69 over the 2/4, but I do think that Joe Douglas would still do that, and then he would probably trade down from 35 or 38 to recruit some mid-rounders.
It's going to depend on how desperate Arians is to trade down too. So you never know.
They're going to know Douglas. He's going to need to hop Jacksonville. He's going to need to hop Detroit. He's going to need to hop Cincinnati. He has to. I cannot see Tyler Linderbaum passing through all three of those teams to get to the Jets. I just can't see it. There's no way. He's too good. And he fits all their offenses. So
he does. All right. So I got 35. I got Tyler Linderbaum. I've got Nakobe Dean at Mike linebacker at 38. And the reason why I have that here is because eventually CJ Mosley is going to move on from the Jets. I think this is he's in technically year 3 of his 5-year contract. Am I right?
We only
because
he's after this year.
Right, because he played like 3.5 quarters in 2019. He elected out of 2020. In 2021, he was basically Defensive Player of the Year until he got nicked up in week 7 or 8. So eventually they're going to move on from him. I think having somebody to take his place at Mike linebacker, Nakobe Dean, I think fits that defense, and they can develop him into the Mike linebacker of the future here. At 69, I got Jalen Petrie here at 69. They need a safety. Ashton Davis is a walking tire fire of a safety. Yeah, he can't. He had some glimpses of brilliance last year, but is he really a safety that can depend on for the future? I doubt it. I think he'll be a cut from this squad in preseason. At 111, I got him taking an offensive lineman. I got Cade Mays from Tennessee. They watched him in the Senior Bowl. He didn't play for Ron Middleton in the Senior Bowl, but he was on the other side of the ball. But I think they need some more depth at offensive guard. I highly doubt that Dr. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is coming back, especially at the $9 million tag that he had last year. He's also 30. I think he's entering 32 years old, and he's kind of conflicted as to whether or not he was going to leave to practice medicine in Montreal. I don't think he's coming back, but I think this would be a perfect position for the Jets to draft an interior offensive lineman. At 117, I got taken Jelani Woods. Only because I think they need a developmental tight end here. And in my original pick for the Jets, I had them taking Tyler McBride at 38 because I think Ron Middleton absolutely positively loved him in the Senior Bowl. But I think it's a big stretch. So I think they're going to come down a little bit and pick Jelani Woods as their fourth round pick, the second round, fourth round pick. At 146, I'm thinking Bo Melton from Rutgers. He's a slot guy. I think they could develop him into a solid receiver. He's a team captain. He's definitely a Joe Douglas guy as a team captain, and I think they could develop him into a nice slot receiver to replace what Jamison Crowder was. And at 163, I have the obligatory running back pick here for Joe, as Joe Douglas likes to do. I am taking Jerome Ford from Cincinnati at running back at 163. So that's my New York Jets draft board here.
I mean, your draft would be an absolute dream draft, but I don't think it's realistic.
No, I mean, this is why we're doing it. This is why it's called a mock draft. It's It's subjective.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned yesterday, it's funny. I talked to Jet when I was on Jake Asman's show. I saw in the chat Jets Forever saying terrible mock. I'm like, all right, buddy, you're the guy who wanted Kyle Hamilton at 4 and Sauce Gardner at 10. Sure,
yeah, it's a mock.
I would take Sauce Gardner at 10. He's my number 2 overall player in this draft. If he got to 10, I really would take him, but I don't have him falling to 10.
The other hypothetical I had, and was Sauce was KT at 4. Sauce, if he were to slide all the way down to 10, Jets taking him, and then the Jets trading back into the first round for Christian Watson from North Dakota State.
Right. And I mean, Jake Asman talks about that all the time. That's just what he says. He's like, I'm okay with taking Sauce at 10 if you can tell me what the plan is to get a receiver to move back up. If a guy like, Chris Olave falls, Traylon Burks, those guys fall, or, even Christian Watson with his 6'4" ridiculous athleticism frame, he kind of scares me a little bit. He's better than Stephen Hill, but he has the same exact measurables as Stephen Hill. That terrifies me. They were both athletes that are still trying to figure out the wide receiver game, but he is better.
I really don't like hearing that name.
Yeah, no, he was. Oh my God, I was so high on Stephen Hill. I was so high on him.
Another McCagnon guy? Was that an Idzik guy?
No, that was before that. That was before McCagnon. That was Idzik.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as your draft goes, Ryan, I think your draft is definitely the dream draft. You got a lot of value if those guys were actually there.
I'm definitely reaching for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. This is what I
value.
want them to do. But
yeah, I mean, Petrie could fall to 69. Sorry, I don't know if my microphone pulled out there. Petrie could fall to 69. Chances are he probably goes just a few spots before that. Jelani Woods is literally one of the most athletic tight ends they've ever tested. And at 6'7", that can run and catch like he can, I think Jelani Woods is a 3rd round pick all day long. I think someone's going to take the upside.
And he replaces Connor McDermott as our best short yardage touchdown.
Right, exactly. And just same thing with Jerome Ford. I mean, Jerome Ford, he didn't test as well as everybody thought, but Jerome Ford's film at Cincinnati was spectacular for what the offensive system gave him with Desmond Ridder, and he's probably put himself into the 4th round as well. I think someone could even take advantage of him in the 3rd round if they have him rated higher than the Zamir Whites or the James Cooks or the Brian Robinsons of the world. He could even sneak into the late 3rd. Depending, I mean, the running backs are so subjective right now. It's just a team by team thing. So,
right. I the Jets re-signed Tevin Coleman for another year, $1 million. It's a nice little. It's nice to have him back in the running backs room because he acts as a mentor towards the other running backs because he knows this system.
Right.
He knows the terminology. Can teach the other running backs the same thing, and I think Ford would make sense to me at 163.
Yeah, I just don't see him there. That's just another thing. I just don't think he's there. I really don't. I don't think he makes it that far.
Can I ask you both a question?
Hit me with
Sure.
it.
In the off chance that the first 3 picks are, and not necessarily in this order, but Hutchinson, Sauce, and Kayvon, what do the Jets do it for?
Kyle Hamilton. I'm just kidding. No, I think they take either Aquanu or Neal.
I 100% think they take Aquanu. Neal's not a fit for us. Neal's
You
not a
think
fit.
You think they take Aquanu and not trade back there?
I don't think there's anybody that's going to want to trade up. I don't think you're going to find anybody. There's nobody there that you want to trade up for, especially
I would.
when
I would,
those 3 guys
the Giants
just
are
went.
at number
I would
5.
say Atlanta would trade up for Walker.
I'm maybe. I mean, yeah, I think
the Giants would trade up for Aquanu.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe those guys call up to say, hey, do you really love him that much to where you'd pass up on, this offer? And then Joe Douglas, I think Joe Douglas would love to trade down if he could. But if we're doing this where that's not an option, I think it's Ike Aquanu all day.
Yeah. Because you need somebody, because was it Fant's going to be a free agent after this year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Mekhi Becton is still rehabbing his injury. I guess he didn't go to OTAs, but it's an optional workout. But I guess he's still rehabbing his knee. He's getting in shape, and I think somebody said I think it was Brian Costello said his wife is expecting a baby in June.
Next month.
I want to say next month. Okay,
I think she's 37 months, 37 weeks pregnant.
Wow,
37 months would be a while.
It's a long time for a baby to come
bad
out.
For her. I feel
Very
real bad
uncomfortable.
You'll be walking out of the womb.
Yeah. Yeah, I just if you listen to what people are saying about Mekhi Becton, he's already kind of in the Joe Douglas doghouse a little bit. Like he's already in it. So I mean, Ike Aquanu is either insurance for Becton, or he replaces Fant, or one of those guys. They could,
or he's at right tackle and they swing Fant to left tackle as a starter.
They trade Becton. They could even trade Fant. I mean, Fant's still 30 years old with plenty of tread left to go. In his final year, you could even trade Fant for probably a 4th rounder, which would be better value than probably what you'd get from Mekhi Becton right now.
How do you guys feel about Becton overall? Have you lost confidence in him, or do you feel like he could easily turn it around?
I think he could turn it around. I want him to turn it around. I don't know if his problem is more mental than physical, but I want to see him succeed. That's why they drafted him first in 2020. Mm-hmm. They needed a bookend for the future. And he's had so many injuries. I mean, the way he looks on the field when he's healthy, he's running over guys. He's throwing guys around. But when he's hurt, it sucks because you spent your number 3, number 4 in the draft. Number 3 draft picks in 2020, 3.
He was the third offensive tackle taken. He was pick number 11. Right.
So I want to see him succeed, but I wonder if his problem is more mental than physical at this point. Does he want to play football?
Look, we'll never know what's going on behind the scenes. We only know what we'll be told. I mean, we don't know how he interacts in the locker room. We don't know how he interacts with the coaching staff. We don't know how he interacts on the training table. We don't we can only speculate as far as that goes. So
we see what he posts on social media.
yeah, we can see all that. So, but I mean, to me, it's the same thing. Like, you want him to succeed, because if he does, then, somebody in your scenario, Kyle, somebody with Ike Aquanu and Mekhi Becton both playing lights out, we'd have the best tackle duo in the league, and it wouldn't even be close.
For sure.
Like, it wouldn't even be close. We would be absolutely road grading people, and it would be guys. Defenders would turn into human pizza, is what would happen.
Yeah,
on the field. So like, it would be, and then add an AVT and fingers crossed Tyler Linderbaum. Oh my God, the Jets not only would have the best offensive line in the league if that happened,
the youngest.
They would have the youngest. I would be willing to put that up there by year 3 of all of them being together. Probably one of the best all time. No joke. I would probably.
And that's saying a lot because the Jets have had some awesome offensive lines back in the 2000s. 2010s.
That'd be 4 first rounders that are playing up to their potential, and then a Pro Bowler at right guard that knows the system. I mean, that would be disgusting to watch. So you can only hope he gets it together, because damn it, Mekhi Becton could be one of the greats. But
So
can you say healthy?
if that's the case, then they do go with Icky at number 4. At number 10, do they still address wide receiver, or is that when you take your edge rusher?
I guess you got to play
take an edge
board.
rusher.
I think you got to play the board. I think you got to
Best
play the board
available.
as far as that goes. Well, how do they feel about Jermaine Johnson at that point? I mean, they say they love him. They've had great visits with him. They've done a crazy amount of research. Do they love him more than, the Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Drake Londons of the world? I mean, that's up to Joe Douglas.
Right.
And that's where I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if it's me, edge rush has been so barren for us. I'm still going edge rusher. Can't bank on Carl Lawson, and there's wide receiver depth in this draft is immense, but compared to the edge, so I'm still taking an edge.
Well, 10. Don't forget, Vinny Curry's coming back this season. He re-signed with the team, and I know he missed all last year, but he's acting as a mentor in the locker room for some of the other guys and the younger guys. But if they pick Iquanu, they take Jermaine Johnson, I think he's in the same scenario where they trade up to get a Christian Watson or an Olave or even Williams if he drops down to the mid-20s.
You certainly could. You could very well see Joe Douglas take Ike Iquanu, Jermaine Johnson, and then package 35-38 and move up to like 16, somewhere between 16 and 20 if he wanted to get desperate and grab, somebody like Drake Leonard, Jameson Williams if they're in that area. You could absolutely do that. I mean, 35-38 I think is equal to like the 14th or 15th overall pick. So, I mean, you could see him take both of those and say, we're right back into the first round and give me, who's my pick of, who's the flavor of the day that, it's still available.
I mean, the only offensive player I think of in recent memory that had a really devastating knee injury, but still had a solid NFL career was Willis Mcgahee. And yeah, he played running back and he got his knee torn up when in that was the BCS championship game against Ohio State back in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
But he missed a year. I think he was drafted by the Washington. Was it Washington that drafted him? Or was it Buffalo who drafted him?
Mcgahee was drafted by Buffalo, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so Buffalo drafted him. He journeyed around, but he still had made a solid career. Despite
he was never the same player.
He was never the
same player. But
no, but he still had a serviceable, pretty decent career in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. I'm not concerned about an ACL injury. That anymore, not with the way it is. It's not like the ACL injuries of 1998. Things have changed in the way they do it and their healing process and the technology. Connor Hughes put up that thing where he's not going to play till December, and I think that's absolute bullshit. There's no way he's out till December. It's just not possible.
No, at the latest November.
Yeah, at the latest November, and at that point, it's probably still early November. So, I don't know. I think the Jets try and double dip at wide receiver. I think the Jets may try and double dip at edge. That's why I love the draft, though. That's why I love the draft. You have no idea.
Very excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I'm super excited too.
I already got plans. My daughter's going to be at my in-laws for from that weekend. The wife knows this is the time of year. Don't ask me to do anything. I'm not cleaning nothing. Bring the laundry to me. I'll fold it while I watch. Other than that, like I get up to go to the bathroom and that's the only reason I'm getting off the couch. Like that's it. Like other than that, I'm watching TV.
There you go.
So if you want anything done, it's on you. Like I said, you can bring me the laundry and I'll fold it from there. So, every year, this is my time of year right here. My favorite time of year. Forget Christmas, forget Hanukkah, forget my birthday, forget Arbor Day. This is the day. This
Arbor Day. That's a random holiday.
It's one of the best. You're really missing out.
Yeah. It's right up there with Earth Day. All right. I think it's about a good time to wrap things up. Guys, I'm going to give you ample time to let you plug your stuff. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Kyle, where can people find you? Where can people find your podcast? Yeah, the floor is yours.
All right. So, co-host of the Trav and Rigney Show with Godzilla Media. You can find that pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. I also started a new podcast. It's me, my buddy Trav, and my buddy Yizer. And if you guys are into old video games at all, retro games, we pick a new retro game every single week, and it's kind of like a video game book club. We all play the game, and by the end of the week, we get together and discuss the game, whether we like it, give it a rating. That can be found on YouTube. It's called Reliving Retro, and that's all from me.
Oh, that's cool. I like that
right.
idea. I'm not much of a video gamer, but I like that idea. Try and play Silver Surfer on original Nintendo.
You know what? I'll put it on my list.
Dude, I could never get past about the first 7 minutes of that game, and I tried playing it for years.
It's tough, man. Those original Nintendo games are no joke.
No, they're not.
That was the hardest. That was the hardest game I think I ever tried playing. Silver Surfer on original Nintendo. That was ridiculous how hard that was.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
All right, Dan, floor is yours. Where can people find you? You got a podcast? You got anything going on? Let the people know.
I don't really have much going on at the moment here. Eventually I'm going to start some things. There's still some personal things in my life I got to clear up and give me time for first before I can do that. Eventually I'll start a podcast or my own YouTube channel or something because I need a hobby, and the draft can only take up so much of my time. But for now, I'm still at DTSN Jets Dan, where I post Jet stuff and talk shit to Mac Jones lovers because Mac Jones is trash. So
there you go.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for your time, and go Jets.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Go Jets.